What's happening, YouTube? It's your boy Zay Did It, and welcome back to the channel. First things first, I owe all of you all a huge apology for the radio silence. I know I done been MIA for about a month or two. School been throwing your boy some serious curveballs, but I finally got my feet back up under me, and the good news is we done hit 500 subscribers. Plus, thank you all. Thank you. Every single member of the Base Mod family for your incredible support. I am grateful, and I hope we can get to 1,000 real soon. To celebrate this one milestone we just reached though, I'm sharing some of my mixing wisdom, specifically to those of you all who are new to the game or just starting to mix your own music at home. We got 10 rules that I want to focus on, just these 10. More to come later, but let's just hit these out here. Rule number 1, you already have everything you need. Let's talk about gear acquisition syndrome, or shiny new toy syndrome. It's real. Before y'all go buy everything under the sun, I just want you to remember, the best mixes come from the engineer's skill and experience, not the most expensive tools. Stop chasing the latest bundle deals. I myself have a huge collection of plugins that I done collected over the years, but I assure you, on the regular, I may use less than 20 of them. Focus on learning the ins and outs of the stuff you already have. You don't need 10 different EQs, compressors, delays, etc. to get a great mix. A solid stock plugin like the ones that come with your dog can often do the job beautifully. Rule number 2, keep it simple. Mixing is an art, not a science. In the early stages, focus on the big picture and not the tiny details. Don't go overboard with the processing. A simple compressor can do a better job than a multi-band compressor can in some scenarios. The same with an EQ. A EQ with about 3 or 4 bands allows you for a lot of flexibility, more than you may think. Aim to get a good sound with some simple tools because it leaves less room for user error. You can overmix something and it sounds worse than it did had you just did something similar and left it alone. We'll just say, for example, if you're struggling like with a boomy kick drum, just slap a high pass filter that goes to about 30 or 40 hertz before you start reaching for a multi-band compressor. I guarantee that'll do the job, and it doesn't even take as much work as you would trying to be surgical. Rule number 3, listen, don't look. Visual plugins do a fantastic job of providing a reference, but your ears are always the final judge. Don't get too hung up on meters and analyzers, because a mix might look good on paper or it might look good in the plugin, but it might just be dull and lifeless. Trust your gut. If it sounds good, it is good. That vocal might be clipping on that meter, but if it sounds punchy and it's cutting through the mix clean and it sounds exciting, don't worry about what the meters say. Rule number 4, we piggybacking off of rule number 3. There are no rules. Stop treating mixing advice from every YouTuber, including myself, as the gospel. While advice from somebody with more experience than yourself may be good, turning your brain off and blindly following their methods without using your own insight is a bad idea. There are countless ways to approach a mix, and what works for one person might not work that well for another. You just gotta remember that. Don't be afraid to experiment and break all the rules. The most innovative songs and mixes come from those who dare to be different anyway. Some genres thrive off of distortion, some thrive off of saturation, some may need more clarity and transparency. One engineer doing one job in one genre can't tell you how to do what you're doing, so you just gotta go off of what you feel. You can incorporate some things they say, but never think it's a cookie cutter method to what you're doing. It's not cookie cutter. Rule number 5, stop comparing yourself to pros. Most of the professional stuff, quote unquote professional stuff that you hear, can be a result of the perfect storm. They done recorded it in ideal conditions. They recorded the stuff through top-notch gears, and those engineers have years on years on years of experience. It's very unfair to compare yourself to them when you just starting out. You gotta celebrate your own progress. Every mix you finish is a stepping stone in the journey to becoming a better engineer. I've been mixing since 2008, and to this day, I am still improving. Don't beat yourself up if your mix don't sound as polished as your favorite artist. Just realize that came with time and experience from the person behind the board. Rule number 6 is a piggyback off of number 5. Develop your own sound. Don't try to emulate somebody else's style. Embrace your own unique perspective and let that shine through your mix. Your brain works different than everybody else's, so you can't sit up here and think that you're gonna do what they did one-to-one and it's gonna sound the same. You're gonna hurt yourself trying to copy somebody else when you could have just made whatever your brain coming up with your own. Experiment with different techniques and sounds. The more you play around, the closer you'll get to finding something that's signature to you. You go to Alex Toomey because you want your music to sound like Alex Toomey mixed it. Or any other engineer, you go to engineer A because you want the song to sound like engineer A. You go to engineer B because you want it to sound like engineer B. Make yourself engineer C. Look at all the distortion that's in some of Travis Scott music. That's done on purpose. Mike Dean and him crafted that sound on purpose. And it goes against damn near every principle that you have ever heard people speak on regularly when you talking about mixing and mastering. Maybe you love a gritty, lo-fi aesthetic, or maybe you lean and gravitate towards something clean and modern. Either way, you gotta find a way to make your sound your sound. Number 7, be realistic. Mixing is a skill that takes time and practice to develop. Don't get discouraged if your early mixes don't sound perfect. You're gonna make some terrible mixes, and that's okay. We've all been there. Every mix you complete is an opportunity for you to learn and grow. Start mixing some simple projects like demos and cover songs before you start trying to get into something complex. Focus on drums today, maybe a synth tomorrow, then maybe a vocal. Eventually it'll all make sense when you put it together, but that takes time, and you have to be realistic with yourself and realize it's gonna take a while. Number 8 is sort of like number 1. Master what you have. Before you upgrade gear, make sure you done squeezed every drop of production that you can get out of what you already own. Experiment with the settings, route the cables different, try a different workflow. You might be surprised by what you can achieve with what you currently have. I'm gonna give you one example. Fruity Loops. I did not know until earlier this year that they had a plugin called FL Patcher that allows you to pretty much integrate plugins within another plugin and create your own stuff. Man, had I known that years ago, it would have replaced so many plugins that I had bought, but I knew nothing about it because I did not take the time and go through what I already had in my dock. That could have saved me hundreds of dollars. Rule number 9, experiment. Like what I was just saying with Patcher, it allows you to route stuff and do so many different things. You owe it to yourself to play around in your DAW like that, because the most exciting discoveries often happen by accident. Don't be afraid to try something new and see where it leads you. Play around with different effects, processing techniques, automation. Mixing should be fun. If it ain't fun, take a break and revisit it when your mind clear, because I guarantee you're gonna be able to cook up some in the lab that you never would have thought you could do before. Try layering some different reverbs on the vocal. Maybe experiment with sidechain compression on something you never thought to do it on. I did sidechain compression on an actual reverb one time, and I was surprised by just how much it made the tail of that reverb pop out when the compressor let loose. But I just got bored and tried it. Maybe somebody else been doing it, but I just got bored and tried it, and now it's a part of my workflow that I never would have thought to do. Don't sell yourself short. If it's already inside of your computer, try it, man. But other than that, you just gotta go for it. And that brings me to another tip. Rule number 10, join this community so we can all grow together and continue to make good stuff. Like the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child, and your music is no different. Well, I'm gonna wrap this video up, y'all. Massive shout out to every member of the BassMod family for helping me reach 500 subscribers. I hope this video has given you all some valuable insight and some encouragement. And if you want more mixing tutorials, be sure to let me know in the comments. And of course, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, slap that notification bell to stay connected with the BassMod family. Until next time, Zay did it. I'm out.